Yes, that's it. Earlier in the week, I posted something about Samurai Showdown and
Yeah,
SNK
something's going on with their tournament shit.
and Jimmy Bones, and so some people were a bit confused about that. So he went into description. He went into I was pretty much like, it's one of those bits where it's like, I'll let him talk about it when he wants to on, and he did on his stream. But to give the summary of it, now that that's been discussed and it's out there, I definitely don't mind just telling people what it is, because I'm really, really bummed by like what kind of went down here is effectively to call it, to make it short. um Samurai Showdown has had a world tour going on, right? I've been going to compete in these events, right? For the winner of multiple Samurai Showdown tournaments, like, usually will get a spot that allows them to basically get a flight to go to Japan to qualify for the World Finals.
Fair enough.
That's going to be March of next month.
All right.
Sorry, March of next year. Excuse me. I just want to make sure I'm getting all my facts straight here. So this is what I've been.
Yeah, that's not as important as you think.
Okay. Well, anyway, so that's the nature of the tournament, and from talking to some of the folks involved with it beforehand and stuff, can say that, like, sounded very much like a heart's in the right place, really earnest, want to promote the game, do a lot, get SamSho out there, etc., all these good things. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. As someone who cares about SamSho, been traveling with Jimmy, who's a top player of this game, right? So
Yeah.
he's been doing pretty well. So what kind of happened was, there's been some foibles at these events in terms of, like, how much heads up people have been getting for when a tournament, when it gets announced to be a qualifier.
What's the shortest?
So earlier on this year, there was literally like 2 weeks.
That's not enough.
Right.
That's not enough.
There's 2 weeks given.
You don't even have time to take the day off work.
It was rough, right? That was like or what happened earlier in the year, for some of the first ones coming down, and people were like, guys, like, yeah, people have to take time off, they have to travel, they have to figure this stuff out, like, why would you do that, right? And it kind of came down to a thing where, like, they just didn't have a plan for, like, what event. I don't know, whatever it was, that their timing stuff was an issue, right? I don't want to speculate on the how and what, but
They're too busy doing coke.
The failure, unfortunately, just, like, landed on those events, right? So what happened recently is there's been, since the game has come out, a weekly series called Ronin Rumble, right? I've done some commentary for it. It's put on by Jeff the Hero. He's aptly named because dude is, like, holding up the SamSho community, running this weekly event, and it's a nice place where the community comes together, competes online, and, like, when you're a small game, these things are important, right? These things kind of keep it connected. They keep the scene alive in a way when there's just not a ton of people flocking towards the game. So he's been doing amazing with that, and Jimmy Bones has been doing a weekly series called Sake and Roses on Thursdays, where it's a casual lobby where people can come out and just play the game, like, not tournament, just in preparation for the Ronin Rumble. So these events are affiliated to Degree and such. Anyway, so this has been what's been going on, right? So what ends up happening is this final event in Japan, it turns out that of the 16 slots that are going to be going out to players that won these tournaments, not all of them have been announced yet. So we're waiting on finding out where some of these slots were going to go. We found out that 6 of the 16 are going to China, right? The rest are kind of distributed so far around different countries, different events, and so on. But for some reason, China was getting 6, and it was getting 3 at 2 tournaments that were going to run simultaneously on one weekend. Very weird. Top 3 in this event would go to, like, what is that, right? Very strange. Like, is there even a big
simultaneously on a single weekend?
a single weekend, 2 events in China, top 3 get 6 of these slots? Doesn't make much sense.
That seems like shit.
Right? You're like, what? Why would that? That's not fair. That sounds like a weird distribution.
It's almost like China.
It's almost like SNK is owned by a Chinese company.
What?
Oops. So it was like, what's up with that? And there's not a ton of details, right? And as time gets closer, in 1 or 2 places, very like I think on a Facebook post, there was an info drop that was like, these events are not tournaments; they're 8-man invitationals. You're like, wait, what? So
what the fuck have people been going to tournaments to seed for these fucking things?
Literally, like what? So because you've been doing these, these people have been running their major tournaments, and now this is an 8-man invitational. We don't know what the
It's like, I flew out to this tournament to get seed points, and now you're telling me I literally didn't have to go?
Someone else could have got an invite to go to one of these things, and furthermore,
and 6 of them will be Chinese.
Because it's an invitational of people that are from the scene there or something, I guess. But like, apparently there's not a very large scene there, but regardless, it doesn't matter. That's what you call stacking, right? That's what you call stacking. It's what it is.
Bullshit.
We're gonna grab the 6 local players and throw them in, and it's gonna make, and like in the end, they're gonna end up facing against people who like had to fight against like hundreds of players, to get where they're
gonna get fucking crushed.
It's pointless, but it doesn't matter.
Like they're gonna
right?
They're gonna own, like, one of them might get first or second, but the rest are gonna get fucking 8 through 6.
It's a complete nonsense publicity ploy, right? So it makes no sense to put that in the same
SNK
thing.
seems bad in this situation.
Like, this is whoever's in charge of this World Tour thing is not doing it evenly, right? That goes down. 8-man invitational. We don't know who the players are going to be. Whatever, right? So we find out that and before this, around the same time, if not a little bit after these details are announced,
this is such stupid bullshit.
For a while, the weekly Run and Rumble thing, it was like, yo, this is a really cool event that a lot of people have been participating in. Can they get some support of some
any
way,
kind,
right? So
shout out even.
Eventually, a deal was reached where basically they were going to then go. The SNK agreed to let the winner of a Ronin Rumble get to go to China to enter one of those invitationals.
What?
Right, and then have a chance if getting to the top of those invitationals to go on to Japan. Right, and it's like, why not just cut out and go straight to?
Why not just add a 16-person bracket? Like,
no, this is what it was, right? And then the way it was announced was such that it would be.
Wait, hold on. You have to wait. Let me break it down even dumber.
Please do, because I don't.
You have to
people
go
are probably lost here
to China in order to get a spot in this invitational. You have to essentially beat almost everyone else who will also still be at the invitational.
No, because who's going to China? Of the players not across the world.
This just feels like you have to beat the Chinese players twice in order to win the
You have to win. So it was, you win the online tournament.
Yeah.
Then you get
to go to China
to enter this other tournament,
and you have to place top 6
or top 3 because there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Right? And then if you win that, then you go to Japan in March.
But there is a scenario here in which you will have to go and beat the #1 Chinese player. Say you're better than the #1 Chinese player.
Yes.
You will have to beat them 4 times.
Forget that. The Ronin Rumble has a lot of people that play that are already winners that are going to Japan.
Yeah.
So you have to beat them.
Yeah.
In that first event,
what?
To then
how many times you have to beat the same people?
Not so, but this is the way they handed it out, right?
Oh, that's so busted.
So,
oh my god,
this is announced 1 week before the Chinese tournament happens.
Oh, you mean the country that you probably need to get travel authorization to go to if you're going there from like a dozen of any other like?
So how many?
You're not even allowed to go to China for free. Like,
So how
you
many
need visas or something?
Pat, how many dominoes down the bad decision tree is that?
We're like 10.
Okay, so
You can't.
allow me to continue.
Depending on what country you live in, you
All
can't
right.
just go to China.
If you're confused, if you're lost, let me try to simplify it, but let's run it
All
back.
right.
World Tour event is announced. Timing is really badly handled on the part of SNK, letting people know about when these things are going down.
Open tournament with seating turns into a closed invitational with fucked seating.
With 6 slots of 16 going to Chinese events, right? That are not open tournaments like the rest of the events.
And then that is announced a week to go.
By winning the online
All
tournament.
right, and
okay? now so that the online tournament goes down, Diddy Mokov wins, Jimmy Bones gets second place.
All right.
Diddy Mokov goes, okay, cool, let's find out what we can do here. He's from South America, and I think he's currently was in America, unable to do any sort of passport
the thing I just brought up,
all of
like
that,
literally
could not do it. So a day later goes, I can't do this.
Vacate my win.
I vacate my win.
Therefore, Jimmy Bones becomes the number 1.
Jimmy Bones takes it. Okay, cool. So he finds out a day or a day and a half after, actually.
Right. Which gives him 5 days to go to China?
4.
4 days. Okay.
So what do you got to do to make that happen?
Of which it takes at least 1.5 days to literally go to China.
Time to call up the embassy and get the visa, because you can't just go there.
Because you can't just go. You need a travel visa.
So that is the soonest on a rush that you can get that to happen. It's going to be a day and a half later.
Which gives you 7 hours of leeway.
So we're like, okay, and I'm looking at the events. I'm talking with him about this whole thing, looking at the flights, trying to see what's possible, and of all the flights that can be chosen, the only way to get there the morning of the tournament on Saturday would be to leave 2 hours before the meeting to get the visa.
Great.
Completely impossible.
It's almost like this is intentional.
Completely impossible.
It's almost like these are known quantities.
I mean, like the people, like Jeff running the tournament definitely did not intend any of this. You know what I mean? It was just way back up. They're just like, nah, they didn't.
It's almost like they never wanted to give this thing a chance at all.
I don't know. But so what happens is, of course, it becomes completely a farce, right?
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, okay, and even, this is not going to be possible. But let's just also look at what we're talking about in terms of like what you'd have to like what kind of costs you'd have to get for this visa or whatever, right? So the way things were announced initially was flight to China plus $1,000 to cover whatever expenses are going to take place. Or happen to
which would be room and board and blah blah blah,
whatever the case may be. Turns out in the communication that was not what was said. Turns out that's not what was offered. And that what was actually offered was $1,000 towards the cost of getting to China in 4 days,
including
and staying there and eating and traveling and getting to the airport and taking a taxi, whatever the fuck.
So
whatever.
Paying money out of pocket plus embassy fees.
So SNK was actually going to just provide $1,000 towards the $3,000 maybe it would cost to do this.
Yeah.
So the player would have to have the time to leave within a couple days to fly to China, take the time off of work, and have a couple thousand sitting around
and have a free travel visa standing.
Of which that $1,000, by the way, would not be given, but would be reimbursed a month later.
Oh, it would be reimbursed. This was no.
Isn't this the worst?
This is an offer. This is an offer where you forgot your lunch, and I see that you haven't I see you don't have your lunch, right? And I have a peanut butter sandwich, right? I eat the first half of my sandwich and make sure to get one bite into second part of sandwich before offering you some. Hey man, you look hungry. Do you want some? As I am eating the remainder, fully knowing that you will say, no, man, I'm good. But I offered, though. I offered.
So we're now on like domino 10, right? Of the bad decisions in this process. I can't believe how far down the line it's come in terms of stupidity with it, but this is what's happened.
I don't understand why they didn't want to come
Right.
compete. We offered to pay their way here, and we sanctioned their online tournament.
And, you know, like, definitely don't want to blow up anybody's spot or anything, but it's like, okay, an attempt was made to try and okay, can we talk to people? Can Jimmy figure out a way
No.
to just go like, all right, look, this is a complete shit show.
Yes.
Can we salvage this in any way by at least saying he can't possibly make it to this event?
Mm-hmm.
The next one that will happen is coming up. It'll be Frosty Faustings.
Yeah.
It's going to be in January.
Yeah.
Is there a way to, since Jimmy's from Montreal,
Yeah.
can you just take that money that would have gone towards the China trip and put it towards allowing him to compete at that event?
Where is it?
That is in I want to say Chicago.
No, it's not going to happen. No,
Right.
You will. No, we will not. It had to be the China one.
And it's like we can just at least get that done out of it.
No.
Because this whole thing is fucked. Of course not.
No.
Right.
No.
And
No.
it would have been one of those things where you're like, at the end of this fucking domino shit show, the one thing you could have done right here would have been to get that.
No, they
happening.
only offered money that they knew couldn't have been obtained.
And it just so. I don't know where it is on the chain of events.
Hey, Woolie, I'll give you $300
Command,
if you
excuse
vomit into that camera right now within 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know where on the chain of command, but like,
Well, I offered it. I guess he doesn't want it.
I feel like somewhere along the lines, like
What a bunch of assholes.
The SNK China is doing their best to just completely either just grab these slots or like make a weird posture that I don't know, but it's just shitty. Whatever the speculation is, it's garbage, and like it's clearly not a fair situation.
Chinese business interests are also Chinese national interests and want to do what's good for China.
And
That's the reality of it.
And it sucks when SNK Japan or SNK America are leashed to follow those orders or whatever the fuck they can't do without that approval. If that's the way things are going, it appears, but I don't know. And then so you end up with this complete shit show where they're just like, sorry, you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. Right? Can we? Nope. Don't care. Too bad.
That's
well,
right.
Right. And
This is why
you just carry on.
This
fucking garbage.
This is
man.
why when you look at interviews of people who have competed in and won or placed top 8 in, say, the Capcom Pro Tour, and those who have competed in and got top 8 or won EVO, the prestige of EVO or any of the other ones, right, that are community organized, the prestige is so much higher because there is so much more value in winning a completely open tournament.
Yes, you walk
than
off
one
the street.
That is sponsored or managed or whatever.
You know, who are you? We don't even know who you're inviting. It's just we're reaching out to people that we would like to see being represented in Japan, and let's give them chances.
Sure.
Right? I don't know, or people or names or whatever the case. So, yeah, man, it really was just like from the get go when people are just like, so you just want to stack 6 of these 10 names to be like from China and then get completely crushed.
Yeah, I want
right. And then when you get to top 16, if somebody that fought through the trenches from the bottom
in multiple countries
has to fight 3 people to get to winners finals, and then someone fights 3 of those 6, and that just happens to randomly be stacked, you're getting somebody who gets a free skip to the end versus someone who has to fucking slave for it.
There's a fascinating you can go check out Core A Gaming, who did a video on tournaments and how tournaments work, and how bracket selection can be manipulated
Seeding.
to create things to happen.
Yeah. So seeding is something that happens. As a TO, I can tell you that like I've had to do seeding, and I know, and like there's a lot of discussion and debate that goes into it. Jabali posted a hilarious thing the other day about like we finally hit the era where he got a complaint from a parent who said my kid is not seeded high enough or whatever.
That's great.
What's up with this, right? And effectively the point of it is to just go, hey, did you travel from Timbuktu with your friend here? Let's make sure you guys don't fight in the first round.
Because that'd be fucked.
Okay. Second, the two people who are probably going to be in grand finals based on past performance
should be as far away from each other in the bracket as possible.
Otherwise, that person gets eliminated, even though based on the double elimination system, even though they probably would have made it further based on the approximate skill levels.
But hey, what if you want your buddy to get out of pools for sure?
Then you put him in an easy pool.
And you make sure that pool is easy.
Yeah, so you don't. So seeding should generally never be handled on that type of level. No.
Yeah.
But Smash GG has made it easy. But like, there's things you factor in. Some things way more than others. You winning an Evo is a bigger factor than you coming from a place that someone else comes.
Yeah, if you win at Evo, congrats. You are now #1 on the bracket.
Right.
And all the top 8s are going to be number 1,000, number 1,500, number et cetera, et cetera.
But if I see like 4 Canadian flags in my pool,
that's
and then
bullshit.
A couple of Canadian, and then no other Canadian flags in surrounding pools, it'd be like, well,
someone's trying to get rid of Canada.
Or
now if you see,
a random can fuck that up sometimes,
Yeah.
but then you got to keep an eye out on that,
Yeah.
right? So anyway, all that to say that that's just one aspect of this that has nothing to do with.
I don't know. It's the most overtly, obviously stupid.
Well, it's the dumb 6-slot China thing. But then there's just the fuckery of how you're supposed to get there in the days that can't possibly. Can we cover? No, we can't. And literally every step of like, we're not gonna cover. And then, will you get a month down the line and then fuck you, too bad.
I'm well aware of the desire to give the benefit of the doubt, but situations like that are so obviously explicitly designed to fail on purpose that I can't help but shrug. The instant that came out, I'm sure a lot of people were like, "Oh, we're not intended to get there. So this is intended to be an empty gesture."
And then it leads to people going like, "Well, yeah, this is another fuck up on this world tour, right?" Yeah. And the worst part, I mean, there's a million worst parts, but an extra factor in how stupid and bad this is how badly it reflects on Jeff, who runs Run and Rumble, and Jimmy Bones, who runs Sake and Roses, two people who are literally going out of their way to organize things to promote the game.
That's tough, because say you're somebody in a community and you love a game and you're trying to make the game real. Right? And then the people who run the game literally spit on you. Like, what do you like?
It sucks.
There's got to be an emotion of like, well, fuck this game. I guess
it sucks
to some degree,
and it especially sucks when you know that like a company is a big mecca of moving parts.
Yeah,
and the people at the head are like, "Hey, man, what's up? Super cool. Want to help you out." And the people at the body are like, "Look, we're just gonna do what we can do.
We're just gonna do what we're gonna do.
We got to focus on these organs, right?"
Alternatively, the people in the middle want to help you, and the people at the top go, "No, fuck them, don't give them any."
But the legs are just like not only not walking to help you,
they're walking away from you.
No, they're trying to step on you.
Oh yes,
the legs are attacking you and kicking you.
Stomp.
And doing their best to fucking ruin.
Yeah, this sounds like shit. This sounds like the Samurai Showdown future as a community / tournament game is fucking dead.
Well, here's the thing, right? As you mentioned, when you're someone that's trying to help promote this scene, like these guys are, this fucking just really hurts and
just dive down harder like, into the community scene, right? I guess.
And this is what it comes down to, right? So, for me, as someone I'm like, I still like this game. I don't like having this bad association with it when it comes to mine. Like, yeah, you double down into community
and
right?
Go, okay, guys. So the company's holding the Invitational. but the real world champion is going to be the one that wins this event over here.
So, I was like planning to still go to tournaments next year, that were like SamSho events that were happening.
Yeah.
And still very much want to do those, still want to compete and play this game that I like, but this world tour aspect of it, the esports aspect of it, is a fucking botch right now.
Esports.
And like any attempt to olive branch, of which there were like 8, just complete refusal.
I find it fascinating that because of the push and pull and the nature of the business relationships that have formed, that almost every single discussion about esports eventually goes to a discussion about Chinese nationalist business interests
at some point recently.
Like almost all of them. I don't know if CSGO is involved. Probably not. That's a Valve thing. Probably not Dota. But like China's got a lot of money and they pushing.
I mean, look, all I can say, and this was everyone that like, it's a pretty tight knit community, you know what I mean? But everyone that like, yeah, like I said, there's like an active 50 names that you just see and recognize everywhere, like, but everyone just kind of, I feel, had that sort of conclusion of just like, well, it's community now. This is we're going community on this, and until they make several changes to like fixing this shit, like we're just gonna have to fend for ourselves, in a way, and stick together and then do what we can. And like it's a really just it's one of those things where it's like it can still even be turned around with some proper decision making, but like I hope at the very least like the blowback is enough that they hear it and don't do shit like this again.
So I would like to point out that I was wrong when I said CSGO and Dota. I got a real quick blowback from chat that Dota has been more corrupt than anything forever, and that CSGO is apparently a money laundering scheme. So
wonderful.
Sports are sports.
It's awesome.
E or otherwise.
Yeah.
Sports.
So yeah, that's the state of the world tour, the SamSho world tour. And see what is he saying? The SamSho dead? Like, no, that's the game. And community is community. We like you can.
You know what I'm waiting for? Waiting for some top pro MOBA player. Be like, I have to bow out of the tournament. I fell down the stairs and broke my arm. And because I didn't take the money.
Oh, dive?
Yeah.
Apparently,
you think we're there yet? You think we're there to paid diving?
Well, wasn't there someone asking a question about like why is pot splitting a problem? Because players
ruins the point of the tournament.
No, but like what players of what game was it? So the person posted and they said people that play this game pot split all the time. Oh, Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said Magic the Gathering players agree to pot split all the time.
Yeah.
And because they don't want to risk the fact that a bad draw of cards.
Yeah, the reason why that's acceptable is because there's random elements associated with that no one can control.
So they just completely, fucking whatever. Yeah.